Hi, welcome to Dungeons and Dragons Reno. I'm going to show you how to set up a dungeon using 6x6 tiles and some walls that I've designed. In this video, we're going to set up an 8x8 dungeon, and then I'll just show you how it flows a little bit better than other kind of 3D terrain. So over here, I've got a 6x6 tile. So this is 1-inch squares, compatible with Dungeons and Dragons or a Pathfinder game. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply build a 4x4 dungeon. That way, we can all see. And these are different colored tiles, just from different games that I've played before, which is no big deal. Just gotta grab a couple more of these. So we'll actually do a 3x4. How's that? I just don't want to zoom out. I guess I'm sort of lazy. So there's our whole terrain there. So here's our 6x6 tiles that I've designed using Hearst Arts mold, and then taking those 1x1 squares and then making my own mold out of them. So you're going from this to this. And this is much more suitable for a D&D game that you may or may not be playing. So I'm going to grab some floors here, or some walls, and here we go. So this will be our doorway here. This will be our very first door jamb here. And we'll bring it into the camera. We'll just do a door jamb right here. How's that sound? There we go. And what you typically want to do is you want to make a 10-foot space here. So we'll just kind of add these up as we go. Here we go. So this floor design, or this wall design that I did here, does 2 spaces. So this is actually a 10x10 wall. You see how it just takes up 2 spaces here? See that? So typically, this is your best bet when it comes to building a dungeon. Right? And we can go the other way as well. And leaving the door open like so gives you a little bit more options, so you can just open the door, right? Unless you really like the real door opening thing. For me, it doesn't really matter, because players, they're not going to actually move the miniature through the door jamb. So then this one here, this is just a little bit bigger than this one here. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to overlap, and then still on this side, still get your 2 squares. Like so. And as the dungeon progresses, you can add other features that may or may not be able to use in other games. And you can go, kind of sideways here and add another door if you want, like so, and then right there. So you can kind of follow the patterns of, say, another D&D module that may or may not be, on paper or just in your mind. So you can kind of play with the whole thing. You can make a 15-foot wall or a hallway, or a 10 or a 5, or even less. So depending on your imagination, you can really go pretty far. So I use 3 different kinds of walls. I've got what I call a 2x2, meaning that it covers 2 feet or 2 squares. And then I got a 2.5, which I just refer to as a large. So you can see how that kind of comes out a little bit less from the side. Or then I use my small. And this is typically just 1.5 square. So there you go there. So we'll just line these up. So you can see this is 2.5, and then 2, and then 1.5. So this is typically what I use. Sometimes, in rare cases, I use a half, or this is just a 1, right? And sometimes you have those pieces that are kind of like this, where you just want the landing, because you're using a 5-foot square here. So that's what I typically use these. I mean, these are pretty rare. I don't really pour these as molds. I just make these from Hearst. So, and this is kind of your deal here. It's actually going to be one of these, because you want it to be flush. So there's that. But I believe that this is a really good way to do it, doing a 6x6. And it's kind of like a battle mat, but it's in tile, and it allows you to have 3D. And it feels like a real dungeon too. So, I mean, this is just kind of a cool way to entertain your guests, you know, your D&D guests for game night. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a nice quick dungeon for you, and you just tell me what you think, and that'll be the end of that. So just give me 1 minute here. Let me get situated, and I'll just kind of let my imagination flow here. If you have any comments that you would like to see, just post it, and I'll try to build that dungeon. In the future, I'm going to build from a couple other manuals here that are in 5e to kind of give everybody an idea of how far you can go with 3D stone. I mean, it doesn't really take too much money to really do this. So, and that's the whole point. You know, you got companies that just make so much money off of this, you know, like Dwarven Forge. So it's just kind of hard for the average player to really enjoy, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, you know, because not everyone can drop $500-600 on a dungeon. But this here typically only costs about, I don't know, $30 for a box of dungeon, or of this dental stone. And then you just kind of let your imagination go. So there we go. There we go. And so we can just add up our lines here, just like that. And then we'll just kind of bring this one in. This will be our door jam here. Like that. We need to bring this all the way around here. And we'll load this up with some serious monsters too. It'd be really cool to just kind of just go for it. I think that's a cool idea. You know, there you go. And I seriously have a ton of this stuff. I just love building dungeons. It's kind of like Legos, you know. So it's just a really good time for me. So I really enjoy this stuff. Just the other day we did this huge dungeon called the Dungeon of Doom, and it was just so much fun having my friends come over and have a good time playing this game. So, and if you'd like to join us, just look us up on Facebook at Dungeons and Dragons Reno, and you can meet the whole group. We typically just have really cool live sessions every other Saturday, which makes for a fun, entertaining night. And you can see how easily this just kind of bends and molds with everything. You know, and this is Dungeons and Dragons. You don't need to be perfect in everything you do. We'll leave that open here. That's a nice little hallway here. There we go. We'll start widening it a little bit. You know. So you can kind of see that this is just pretty cool. Just like that. The best part about this stuff is it's so heavy. It's not plastic. It's not, you know, it has the feel of stone. You know, that's just, in my opinion, that's just super cool. So I really like that. I almost have an endless amount of stuff here too, so it's pretty cool. So, my wife's texting me for dinner. It's kind of late here in Nevada. Just gonna text her back. And then we can make that a dead end. You know, typical. You know, and these pieces that I was telling you about, they come in handy because they just make these perfect, like, flush stops, just like that. You know, and if you need it to be more like a diamond or whatever, you can kind of go that route. You know, and then we can kind of spaz it up a little bit with some pillars here, right? These pillars with the gold on them. Yeah, it's kind of a cool idea here. Right, and then we can do something like this. You want to really go fancy? You can. I made this here out of a mold. You know, the Tomb of Horrors face here. Right, just like so. It's kind of a cool idea. And we'll put a couple of these here. You know, you don't want to just have one room with pillars. You have a couple pillars here. And we can add some stairs. You know, you got some cool stairs you want to put here. So this can like signify to the next floor. And this can be here. And then with something like this, also, you could put a piece here and here on each one of these corners and raise it. So this would be the bottom floor, you know, like the players just came down the stairs and then go here, you know, then go through there, you know. So this also allows for you to level, which we'll do in later episodes as well. Let me grab those guys and we can put some monsters in here. So we can make this a really deadly dungeon. We could add, you know, a really vile creature here. And the chimera, right? Got the lion, goat, and dragon head here. We could put him right here, waiting for the players. And, you know, you can add, say, a fire elemental here, you know, and we got a bandit. He's kind of searching the dungeon. And, you know, we got lots of cool stuff that we've put together. You know, here's a treasure chest. Right, so we can put this treasure chest here. You know, kind of right over in that corner. And as he comes through, you know, it's trapped, right? But this guy's a really big pro. He unlocks the door and comes through. You know, and you can kind of leave the door sideways like that, showing that it's open. You never want to add a creature till the person comes all the way in the room, at which time the monster shows up. See? And the battle comes in. Here's our thief bandit guy. Right? Pretty cool. And, you know, I mean, this is D&D, right? You can make your imagination run wild. You can do whatever you want. Maybe it's not a fire elemental. Maybe it's the dreaded four-armed gargoyle from the Tomb of Horrors. You know, or you could go even bigger. Maybe you can go after one of the like most famous monsters in Dungeons and Dragons. You know, maybe a Fomorian, the master, the most evil of all giants, right? The Fomorian. Boom. You know, so who knows? I mean, it's all about whatever you want to go. And that's the beauty of this kind of style dungeon, is you can put it together in just a few minutes, and you can have your party flowing. You can have all your pieces set off to the side and lay these plates out and just kind of flow. Or you can make something more static, where you can build literally this whole 8-foot table that I have here by 4 feet and make this massive dungeon and invite people over and have a great time. So in future videos, I'm going to show you exactly how to pour my dungeon and my molds. And you can follow me and we can do this together. I'd love to see some pictures. Join us at Facebook Reno, not Facebook Reno, Dungeons and Dragons Reno, and follow us there and have some fun. You know, it's just a great community. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I'll talk to you guys another time. Bye.